We all know that knowing your numbers in business isn't just nice to have, it's essential. If you don't know your numbers, you can't optimize your business, pay yourself consistently, or even make the kind of impact you want in your community. That's why I love bringing on experts who live and breathe accounting, our bookkeepers, our CFOs, and financial coaches to remind us not just how powerful it is to stay on top of your business, but this is an essential piece of our business. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce to you my guest, Megan Schwan. Megan is a mom, a business owner, and someone whose personal journey has fueled her entrepreneurial drive, something I deeply relate to as a single mama myself. Often, it's those challenging seasons of life that sharpen our grit and give us the tenacity to keep showing up, believing, and building. Megan is the CEO and founder of Sidekick Accounting Services, a national virtual accounting firm on a mission to change the statistic that 8 out of 10 small businesses fail. With over 20 years in the accounting industry and more than a decade educating thousands of business owners on accounting and taxes, Megan and her team are passionate about helping entrepreneurs build sustainable, successful businesses. So, without further ado, let's dive in and meet the incredible Megan Schwan. Are you a brick-and-mortar business owner that has put your blood, sweat, and tears into creating a storefront that lights you up and serves your clients really well, only to be frustrated that you're the best-kept secret in town? If you're not hearing your new clients say, "I found you on Google," then you are in the right place. Welcome. My name is Melissa Rose. I'm a mom, a brick-and-mortar business owner, and your straight-shooting visibility coach. I've cracked the SEO code to becoming the top choice on Google in my industry, and now I'm sharing the secrets on this podcast. Get ready for stories, fail-proof strategies, and practical tips to elevate your brick-and-mortar presence to the top choice on Google. Let's get real, because we're going to make your business the only option in town. Megan Schwan, thank you so much for being on the Brick-and-Mortar Visibility Podcast.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Can you tell everybody where you're coming in from? Because it's not Wisconsin.
It's not. No, I am located in North Central Florida, but I'm originally from Wisconsin, and our firm is virtual, so we work with clients across the U.S.
Yeah. So, what is your business? What is your expertise, and who do you serve?
So I'm the CEO and founder of Sidekick Accounting, and we serve small businesses across the U.S., usually somewhere between startup and 3 million in terms of revenue, but really focused on helping clients and owners that want to grow their business. So it doesn't have to be like huge, but whatever that looks like for them to be successful and sustainable. And we work with service-based businesses, daycares, group homes, nonprofits, and limited restaurants are kind of the niches we focus on, but we do have some clients outside of those niches also.
So how did you get into what you do right now?
That's a story. So I kind of fell into it. It actually started technically when I was in high school. So I was taking an accounting one-on-one class, and one of my teachers was just like, you have a knack for this. You should think about making it a career. And then I got pregnant when I was 16. So it was kind of one of those things where I was like, all right, I have to think about, a career and what I want to do to provide for me and my child. And it just seemed to make sense. So that's what I went to school for. And when I graduated, I got married, had another child, and worked full time. But I did that for about 2 years where I was working, and then I got laid off of the jobs that I was working. So one of them was full time or part time as at a landscaping company. I was working as a bookkeeper at that company, and then the other one was actually my full time job. I kind of jumbled my story a little bit here.
Okay.
So I worked the full-time company after I graduated. When I got pregnant with my son, I didn't go back to work full-time. So they made a position for me part-time. So I was working these 2 part-time jobs at home, and then did that for about 2 years, and then got laid off. So then at that point, I was like, okay, what do I do next? Because we needed 2 incomes in our household, as many people do. And I just kind of figured while I was doing bookkeeping at that landscaping company, I could probably do it for other people. Started networking, and we are 11 and a half, almost 12 years later, and
Okay.
it's been a journey.
Yeah. It usually is. I love it. Nobody's story, it's always a scenic route in how we
Yes.
get to where we are. So the reason I wanted to have Megan on the show, as a podcaster, you often get pitched to have people on your show, and that's totally part of the deal. And I love reading who gets pitched. Some of them are great fits. And Megan, I wanted to have on because she's a Profit First certified coach or professional. And
Mhm.
can you tell the audience what that means?
Yes, yeah. So Profit First is a cash flow management system and methodology. And so the long story short of it is that we basically use bank accounts to bucket people's money. So things like owner's pay and taxes and operating expenses and profit. Those are some of the pain points people don't really think about, or that affect being able to create a successful and sustainable business. So we create these different buckets using these bank accounts to help distribute and plan for your money. And what I really love about it is that it really helps to stabilize your cash flow, which is important for many businesses. And the other thing is that it helps to force profitability or prioritize
Mhm.
profitability, which you need to have both profitability and positive cash flow in order to create a successful and sustainable business. So a lot of the clients that we work with, and it's a system. There's many other professionals that do this as well. But what ends up happening is it really helps empower those owners to start thinking more strategically about their business, really make sure that they're creating that profitability and sustainability, so that they can create the businesses that they are, building to
Yeah.
provide for their families. It's,
Yeah.
all of it's really important. So,
I love the words you used. You used sustainability,
mhm.
or stabilize. That's what you
Stabilize.
used,
Yep.
stabilize.
Mhm.
And that is so true. So for those of you that may are listening for the first time or a couple podcasts in, Profit First is my go-to book that I give every coaching client of mine. I think it's a must read
Mhm.
because it stabilizes your cash flow. It helps you stabilize. I love you use the word empower. And that
Mhm.
is such a strong word as well because you are paying yourself every week or month
Yes.
or day. For me, I do it daily within my bank account, bucket it
Same.
where it is. And peace of mind for
Mhm.
me with the knowing that my taxes are taken care of, that
Right.
I am at a percentage profitability of the goal and setting that expectation. And it's just such a great thing. So I love that
Yeah.
you have that methodology behind what you do. I
Yeah.
also wanted to bring Megan on is because she's a single mama, right? Of four
Yep.
kiddos, and I am a single mama of five kiddos. And sometimes I talk to people that are women that are have transitioned. They've become single moms as well. And I find
Mhm.
there are a lot of us that are business owners. And chances are, I'm thinking that it might be because of necessity, because we have these kiddos we're caring for. We need to have maybe some flexibility around our schedules. We need to be able to work from home. We need to kind of set the rules, right? Set the
Yeah.
boundaries. So I kind of want to talk about the personal aspect of growing a business as a single mom with kiddos during life transitions. Um, and I talked with Megan before we started the show here of like what when your world is tips upside down and your reality is completely different than you planned. What is a mindset or how did you get through that and keep moving forward? What was it for you?
So kind of like what you said, out of necessity. So initially when my life got flipped upside down, it was kind of an overnight thing. So like overnight there was a situation that happened. I became a single mom. Or it felt like it basically was
Mm-hmm.
overnight. And so at the time, I was pregnant with my youngest. I had a 10-month-old and a 6 year
Mm,
old and a 12-year old. And it was just kind of like, okay, now what? Fortunately, at that time, I did have something of a team at my business, had been in operation for a couple of years. But I think for me, and regardless of whether or not you have that, the first thing that I had to do was just kind of like get almost grounded, I guess, like hold on to something,
mm-hmm.
like especially when it can be, something unexpected or traumatic. I think that's like the first thing. You have to like find your wherever you're getting grounded. So maybe that's digging into your faith, or leaning on your family and friends, or remembering, why you have your business,
Mm.
or, who you're providing for, what impact you want to make. You got to kind of get clear on what that is. 'Cause that'll help you like get through the mess, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other thing that I kept in mind a lot was that, because it was a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things I had to figure out, as a single person and a mom, and work through all of the different emotions of, losing, my marriage and stuff like that. Because none of us get married to get divorced, right? So like,
Mm-mm.
regardless of whether it was a good thing or a bad thing, it's
Mm-mm.
always like it's like an ending of a chapter, right? And
Right.
so it's
Right.
sad, and you have to like mourn that. But for me, thinking about and keeping in mind that it was a season, like this is just a season, like,
Mm.
like I'm gonna get through this season, like there's always seasons in life. That was another big mindset at that time, and even still, because there's always something, like,
Yeah.
there's always things in life that pop up, maybe not as big or as impactful, as what happened, initially, but there's always something that you have
Mm-hmm.
to kind of work through, different seasons in life and business, as well. So just keeping in mind that it's a season, and then, digging into that grounding, and then kind of like looking at what is going on, like assessing, adjusting, and then taking action is what I always like to say, is kind of like that final mindset that helps to move forward when, things go left, they get flipped upside
Mm-hmm.
down, go as
Mm-hmm.
unexpected. Those are some
Mm-hmm.
things that have definitely helped me.
Mm-hmm. You said some great things there. I love the grounding aspect of it because that is so true. For me, it was my faith, but also I really got into yoga and
Mhm.
being intentional about going
Yeah.
quite a bit. And when you
Mhm.
have a really phenomenal yoga teacher that can just not only lead the class, but then speak these beautiful words over you,
Yeah.
especially when for me personally, my headspace was just an absolute
Yeah.
wreck of like feeling the failure and the self
Yeah.
sabotage. So to get yourself around people that
Mhm.
are not going to feed into that
Yeah.
or go there with you, I love that.
Yeah.
And to remember that this is a season. I
Yes.
love that as well because like you said, and this, I mean, no matter, I mean, I'm bringing up this stuff because it's so relatable to a business. We
Yeah.
have seasons of significant drought, we have seasons of prosperity, we have seasons where we're like, what's going on? What
Mhm.
is,
Yeah.
this isn't working, why isn't this working? And it's life, and we
Mhm.
just have to, this is a season, okay, we've gone through, and then the beautiful thing of that hardness is that I've done hard things, I can do
Yeah.
hard things again, I can
Yes.
do this,
Yeah.
I've done some really hard things. So
Mhm.
getting through that, so um and then creating our businesses, and we've done hard things, we can do this, we can do
Yeah.
this, we can do this, and seeing the patterns in our businesses. I tell my clients every week, month, year you're in business, you have that much more data to pull
Yes.
from to say,
Mhm.
okay, this is normal, this is
Yeah.
normal. July 1st through the 7th is like crap, there's no business going on, we're not getting any
Yeah.
money, there's not going to be
Yeah.
much money coming in. So just knowing that. So let's talk about your business now. So what are some, how can that small business benefit from you and benefit and recover from a setback and rebuild with confidence?
Yeah, so kind of, I mean, along the lines of what you said, looking at the data can be so helpful with figuring out, like what happened, maybe what started the setback, or like if because sometimes it's not as obvious, right? Like you'll go through life and seasons and you'll be like, oh, like, this is not what the number that I meant to see, or my bank accounts not what I meant it to be, or I haven't paid myself in months. So sometimes it's like this gradual thing. So having that
Mm,
data, having those numbers to look back at, to kind of identify like what's happened, what are those trends? Because sometimes it is seasonality, right? Or sometimes like there's been things where you're like, okay, I did this, and then a couple of months later, this happened. So, and when it's your business, looking at your numbers, you have a better idea of why those numbers look the way they are, because you know what decisions came before those that happens. I always like to tell people, like, your decisions are reflected in your numbers, so looking at them are important because your numbers matter, and it matters to your decisions whether you like it to or not. So your numbers are important whether you're
Mhm.
looking at them or not. The more you look into them, the more you're going to understand them, and then be able to see like the cause and effect of what your choices were and how your numbers are reflected. And that's why I really like Profit First also, because it kind of helps make that more tangible. You can look at your reports, and a lot of people have a hard time looking at like their profit and loss or their balance sheet or even their cash flow statement, and they're like, I don't know what these numbers mean. For me, and for a lot of our clients, Profit First kind of helps bridge the gap between your reports and what happens on a day-to-day basis, and that's really powerful for a lot of people, to make their numbers more tangible so that they can understand it. But all that to say, another thing that they can do to rebuild with confidence, is to start looking at kind of those more finer details. So what is your profitability of your services or products? Do you know how much time you're spending? Do you know how much money or how much you're keeping when you make a sale and you put in the labor and the effort and the supplies? How much is left over? That's your profitability rate. Understanding that is really important to making sure your whole business is going to be successful and sustainable. So checking out your numbers is definitely a really great way to help you recover from a setback and help you to rebuild and adjust so that you can be better in the next season.
So tell us how you work with your clients, so that they can see, like, are you
Yeah.
meeting with them weekly? Are you meeting with them monthly? So like when you say the profitability of a product or service,
Mhm.
like then if you can help me with that, and then I know
Yeah.
like, oh gosh, that's way too much stress for how much we're making off that. Why are we
Right.
spending? Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
get rid of that and focus our energy and resources on this product, which is more
Yeah.
profitable.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
can
so
help.
we help our clients with bookkeeping. We also do tax prep and tax planning, and then we do this Profit First implementation, and business coaching or training is what I like to call that. And so in that, we help put together the numbers, your income and expenses, make sure your books are reconciled and accurate, so that when you get reports, you're looking at accurate data. On the Profit First side, we help set up that system, and then I do like business coaching or training every month with those clients as well. So sometimes it depends on the levels. We have different levels and packages of services. So sometimes we're meeting with clients monthly. Sometimes it's more quarterly, but they're getting monthly reports. It just kind of depends. But one thing that I really like is that we have open office hours twice a month for all of our
Mm,
clients. So if there are questions in between those calls, they can hop on and have a conversation, with me. Otherwise, our team is available, all the time, anyways, for our clients as well. But that's kind of just an extra touch
yeah.
point and resource, for our clients to get a little bit more support throughout the month, throughout the year, so that they can get their questions answered. Because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes it's
No,
nice
exactly. You don't
to,
even know what to ask.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes it's nice to just bounce things off of people, and just kind of have that trusted advisor. And that's really what we want to do, and what we strive to do with our clients, is to actually be their sidekick along their
Yeah.
business journey.
Yeah.
Hence our business name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you need people in your corner, during this business journey. It's definitely not something you should try and do alone at
No.
all.
Can you, I know I'm putting you on the spot right now, but can you think of a story or of a client who may be experiencing the profit first
Mhm.
methodology for the first time, and the transformation of working with you and how
Yeah.
that helped?
Yeah, so there's several of them, but one that I really like, and it's not like a full blown like success story, if you will, because um, she didn't reach the number she was wanting to reach, right? So she had revenue goals set for herself, and business was slower, and she wasn't able to meet those goals. But one thing that she said that I really liked and appreciated was that she said that, like, even though her numbers weren't where she wanted them to be, at least now she knew why. And I think
Ah,
that's so powerful for people, is because so
mm,
often, like, we're running our businesses and we've got all these hats on and things are happening and we just don't know why. But when you put like a system and a process in place, like, you're able to start catching, red flags before they come red flags, or some of those like markers, that can show you're headed in the right direction or you're not. Or, you start to see like, okay, I'm spending more money in this, more money is going into this bucket and not enough going into this bucket. But
Mhm.
at least now I know that's because, there's more expenses in this bucket, or, whatever it
Mhm.
might be. There's an explanation for it. And I think that is really powerful, right? Because the things that make us stress and the things that make us scared are usually because we don't have an understanding of it.
Yeah.
And that happens with money so often.
Yeah.
So putting a system in place like this, just it like going back to that empower, it really does help like empower and build confidence in people when they put this system in place, because now they have an explanation to why things are looking or tracking in the direction that they are. And that's priceless in my opinion.
It is because like you said, the confidence. You
Yes.
now know why. So now you're more
Hmm.
confident in your
Yeah.
business and how you're running that. And you guys, when we're confident, it attracts. Okay,
Yes.
confidence attracts. So
Yeah.
when you're walking in confidence, even though you may not be hitting the numbers, but now you confidently know why, so you can
Right.
change things
Yes,
and you can
exactly.
address. It makes all the difference. So, and
Hmm.
it's yeah, so helpful, so helpful. So can you tell people how to work with, how you work with people, how they get onboarded, what that looks like? Is it once they're on? I mean, I would think a bookkeeper, you kind of have this never, you got a beautiful gig because once you hire a bookkeeper, you usually don't fire them. Um,
Yes.
so tell people how to work with you and where to find you.
The quickest way to get to me would probably be through our short link. We have it's chatwithmeg.com. Otherwise, on our website, sidekick-accounting.com, we have a link to schedule like a free consultation. And then I have a test on that link, chatwithmeg.com. It's called the Sustainability Snapshot. So if you're not sure if your business is tracking in the right direction, or if you're sure that it isn't, but you're not sure what to do to fix that, that would be a great place to start. And at the end of it, you can schedule a 20-minute one-on-one with me, and we can talk some strategy and things that can make some adjustments to get you in the right direction. So those would be probably the two things.
Yeah. Awesome. Wonderful. So of course we'll have those in the show notes. Is there anything that you would like to share with the brick and mortar visibility community that maybe that I didn't ask that would highlight you and your services?
um, that is a great question. I would just say what I like to tell people this a lot. Like being a business owner is really tough, regardless of what kind of business that you have. The thing that makes businesses successful and sustainable are definitely the numbers and being profitable and cash flow positive. But the real thing that I think makes it that way is your determination to make it work. So like if you're coming up and you're like, I keep like hitting my head against the wall and I don't know what to do. Like there's always a solution. And that's why I really like coaching with my clients as well, because we start talking about like what those solutions are. And I'm sure you experience that also with your clients, like out of the box thinking, like a different
Mm,
perspective. But really what drives that is like, I'm going to make this work. That's that grit and that determination that really helps you to get, through some of those seasons of down,
yeah.
or even the seasons of up. Uncertainty keeps that going. So I just want to encourage anybody that's listening, like if you're feeling like that, but you really want to make this work for your family or your community or whatever impact you're wanting to make, there's a solution. Just keep pushing forward and talk to people, because that can be so helpful to just like talk to other business owners, talk to Melissa, talk to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
about that to help get you through that hump and get you on the right track. So,
I love what you said there, Megan. That's so true. That's so true. Your tenacity and your grit to keep going.
yeah.
Belief. I think it
Hmm.
comes down to the belief that this can work. This will
Yes.
work. We can figure this out. We can figure
Hmm.
this out.
Yes.
And you'd be surprised. Your network of people around that is willing and wanting to help. in
Yes.
any way. I mean, we're all business owners. That's what we do. We help and
Hmm.
serve. So
Yeah,
we want to help because when you win, we win. So,
exactly.
um,
Mhm.
but if it's finances that you're banging your head against, you need to hire Megan. Okay. So
Yes.
she's here to help you make sure your bookkeeping and all the numbers are in a row, ducks are in a row there. So you can be
Yeah.
profitable so that you can make a bigger impact and enjoy the family and life you deserve. So Megan Schwan, thank you so much for being on the Brick and Mortar Visibility Podcast.
Thank
Um,
you.
and we'll have all the links here below with Sidekick Accounting and chatwithmeg.com. And everybody else, if you enjoy this podcast, please share it with your business bestie because we want more people to hear about the Brick and Mortar Visibility Podcast and the amazing guests we have here. And until next week, have a great week and we will talk to you soon. Peace. Bye-bye.